We begin the news in the Republic of South Africa, where ANC Secretary-General Magasule went to battle with his own party today in his case as he appeared in the High Court in Johannesburg. The court heard a request by another suspended ANC member to join the case. The application was dismissed. Magasule is challenging Section 25, subsection 7 of the ANC's constitution, which calls on members of the party implicated in serious crime to step aside from party roles. Magasule's lawyers argued that the section is unconstitutional. Joining us now to unpack this further is South African journalist and editor Diane Hawker. Hi, good evening, Diane. Thanks for joining us on NC Continental Prime.
Good evening, Benga, and good evening to the viewers as well.
So it took a bit of time before the court got into the main aspects of the case. Can you tell us a bit about what happened this morning?
Yes, absolutely. The beginning portion of the proceedings were actually taken up by these other applications brought by, I suppose we could call them friends of Magasule. They are members of what has become known in South Africa as the RET group of the ANC, and that's the Radical Economic Transformation group within the ANC. Many of these people have been supporters of Ace Magasule at his criminal case, and now they appeared in court, their lawyers appeared in court to argue on their behalf that they should be admitted in the application itself. Part of what they were saying was that the application shouldn't have been brought, or that the ANC shouldn't have actually suspended Magasule in the first place. And they were actually questioning the standing of ANC Deputy Secretary General Jesse Duarte to actually have signed that affidavit that actually, or that order that actually resulted in Magasule's suspension. They were saying that since Magasule is the Secretary General, that the Deputy Secretary General cannot take action against essentially her superior. However, the bench and the full bench of High Court judges, they obviously ruled on this and they dismissed this application, saying that what's being raised in this matter is not an urgent aspect. And they actually said that they're dismissing this with costs, which actually means that these members will have to pay some of the legal costs in this instance. But they have indicated that they might come back to the court to argue this point further, because they do feel that there's a reason that they should be involved. Amongst the people there was a gentleman by the name of Nkosana Shezi, as well as Matumwa Mawere. And both of these people are members of the ANC. One of them has also had to step aside from a position in the party. And so you can see that the ramifications of this case have now started to extend beyond Magasule and the ANC to also involve other members of the party. Benga.
Now, still talking about developments regarding Ace Magasule's case, his lawyers argued today in the High Court in Johannesburg that the party's constitution goes against the country's constitution. Tell us more about this.
Yes, this is really the main crux of Magasule's argument in this case. The constitution of the ANC was amended. This particular section 25.7, was something that was amended in the party's constitution after a resolution at one of their main gatherings. And the resolution was essentially that if any ANC member finds themselves facing criminal charges, they should step aside from their position as an ANC member until such time as that those charges have been finalized. But what Magasule is arguing is that this actually goes against the principle of being innocent until proven guilty by a court of law. And what he's saying is, why should members of the party be requested to step aside when the courts are still going to make a final determination about whether they're guilty or innocent? And he's saying that, it's putting people like him in a difficult position, but also he's outright calling it a breach of the South African national constitution, which also gives an impression that this case is something that could continue all the way until our highest court, regardless of what the outcome is, because the Constitutional Court here in South Africa is the last court of instance when it comes to matters that have to do with the Constitution or challenges relating to aspects of the Constitution.
Now, the ANC was late in submitting some of its court papers. How did the court deal with that?
Yes, this was actually one of the sort of earlier arguments that were dealt with early in the day. Quite a serious issue because the court has certain timelines that it deals with, and since this is an urgent application, the ANC had a short period of time to submit their court papers. But at the same time, when matters are being dealt with on an urgent basis, the expectation is that the parties will stick to that deadline because it's the request from the applicants is that this case must be dealt with urgently. And we heard Magasule's lawyers arguing that the ANC shouldn't be allowed to kind of get away with submitting their papers late. They had to do a condonation application, so basically to request the court's permission to have submitted these papers late. And Magashule's lawyers were saying that the ANC hasn't adequately explained why they submitted the papers late, that they had sufficient time in their view, and that the court should essentially penalize them for that. Of course, the case is still ongoing. It will continue tomorrow, so we still have to see whether that they will be penalized or whether the court will submit the arguments made by the ANC on that aspect.
Thank you very much, Diana. Always a pleasure talking to you. We do appreciate your insights on the subject. Thank you.
Thank you.